The drama surrounding the Indiana Fever's clash with the Las Vegas Aces reached its boiling point in Game 2. It was supposed to be a showcase of two elite teams fighting for playoff survival, turned into something closer to a street fight, dressed up as basketball. At the center of it all was Lexie Hull, a player already nursing a back injury from the opening game, and Aaliyah Wilson, the reigning MVP, whose aggressive style not only knocked Hull to the floor multiple times, but shifted the entire conversation about fairness and survival in the WNBA postseason. The Fever had already shocked the league by stealing Game 1 in Vegas. That first game wasn't just a win, it was a statement. A team written off as too young, too inexperienced, and too inconsistent had walked into the home of the two-time defending champions and dismantled them with a composure that left everyone stunned. Kelsey Mitchell erupted for a playoff career-high 34 points. Aaliyah Boston shut down the paint, and Indiana's ball movement sliced through the Aces' defense with precision. Meanwhile, Wilson suffered through one of the roughest shooting nights of her career, going just 6 for 22, forced into tough, contested looks by Boston's discipline and the Fever's collective defense. That victory was so decisive, it drowned out the whispers already circulating about questionable whistles. Even in their blowout win, fans noticed the lopsided foul count, but the Fever's dominance made those concerns easy to ignore. Indiana was disciplined, efficient, and unshaken. For the first time in years, the Fever looked like a team in control of their destiny, not just surviving against a juggernaut, but imposing their own will. But embarrassment lingers in championship locker rooms. The Aces came into Game 2 wounded, and pride demanded a response. Everyone expected Vegas to adjust, but no one anticipated the lengths they'd go to seize back control. From the opening tip, the game shifted into something unrecognizable. Hard screens blurred the line between legal and dirty. Arms tangled long after rebounds were contested. And every time the Fever tried to build rhythm, the whistle interrupted. The numbers tell part of the story. 41 fouls called in a single game. 16 in one quarter alone. Possession slowed to a crawl, with both teams spending more time at the free throw line than running their offenses. For Indiana, a team that thrives on rhythm and ball movement, it was a nightmare. Steph White, the Fever's head coach, admitted afterward that it was almost impossible to find flow when every possession was interrupted by a whistle. Basketball is about timing, she said, about rhythm, about spacing, and Indiana was robbed of all three. Lexie Hull's night became the clearest symbol of the chaos. Already sore from a back injury suffered in Game 1, she was listed as questionable and only cleared at the last moment after hours of treatment. Most players would have sat. Hull suited up anyway. And once she stepped on the floor, she became a magnet for contact. Time and again, she was knocked to the hardwood. Screens flattened her. Drives ended with collisions that looked more like tackles. And yet, Hull never quit. She hit 5 three-pointers, tying a Fever playoff record, and gave Indiana a fighting chance even as her body was tested on every trip down the court. Her performance wasn't just about points, it was defiance. It was proof that even bloodied and battered, the Fever refused to bow. Meanwhile, the national spotlight shone somewhere else entirely. Aaliyah Wilson's stat line dominated the headlines. 25 points, 9 rebounds, 5 steals, 2 blocks. On paper, it looked like the MVP had answered her Game 1 struggles with a commanding response. What was lost in those numbers was the way they were accumulated. Wilson bullied her way through the paint, often sending Fever defenders sprawling. Calls that Indiana never seemed to get on the other end were granted to her possession after possession. Fans watching called it out in real time, posting clips and crying foul. But in the morning, the story wasn't Lexie Hull's toughness or Indiana's resilience, it was Wilson's so-called dominance. Aaliyah Boston, as always, bore the brunt of the inside war. She finished with 10 points and 13 rebounds, but those numbers don't capture the beating she absorbed. Every post touch came with shoves, bumps, and forearms. Every rebound meant wrestling against contact that often went unwhistled. Boston is just 3 seasons into her career, but she's already playing with the poise of a veteran, anchoring Indiana through chaos. Yet even her composure couldn't mask the reality. Survival basketball had replaced strategy, and then there was Kelsey Mitchell. The heroine of Game 1 was smothered in Game 2. Her scoring slashed from 34 down to just 13. It wasn't a coincidence. Vegas came in with one mission: make her uncomfortable. They face-guarded her off the ball, shadowed her every step, and turned every screen into a collision. Every cut left her bouncing off bodies like a pinball. And while the strategy was effective, it was also brutal. Mitchell's frustration was visible, but her restraint held. She didn't lash out. She didn't fold. She kept searching, waiting for her chance to break through again. Odyssey Sims became the Fever's unexpected lifeline. Off the bench, she poured in 18 points, creating offense out of broken plays, slashing through double teams, and refusing to let Indiana fall apart. For stretches, it was Sims' toughness and creativity that kept the game from spiraling completely out of reach. But every surge she created was met with another whistle, another stoppage, another stretch of Vegas free throws. Even Becky Hammon, the Aces head coach, admitted afterward that the game's physicality had gotten out of control. The irony of that statement wasn't lost on anyone. Her team had benefited from the stoppages, from the leniency, from the whistles that seemed to lean their way. Yet even Hammon recognized the spectacle had tilted too far into chaos. It wasn't the clean, high-level basketball fans tuned in for. It was something else. And through it all, Lexie Hull embodied the Fever's defiance. Her threes weren't just points on the board. They were statements. That Indiana wouldn't be intimidated, that they wouldn't back down, that even battered, they were going to keep swinging. Now the series shifts to Indianapolis and everything changes. Gainbridge Fieldhouse has been waiting for this moment. 17,000 fans, ready to explode with every bucket, every whistle, every defensive stand. The Fever know the power of their home court, and so do the Aces. Hammon admitted as much earlier this year, saying their experiences in Indy haven't been great. That matters, because the same whistles that silenced Indiana's runs in Vegas won't go unnoticed in Indianapolis. The roar of the crowd will demand accountability. Every shove Boston takes, every bump Hull absorbs, every hand check on Mitchell will echo through the arena. Officials won't have the luxury of silence. For the Fever, that's fuel. They've taken the punches, they've absorbed the bruises, and they've proven they won't fold. Now they return home where pain transforms into power. Lexie Hull will once again tape up her back and fire from deep. Aaliyah Boston will fight for space in the paint, lifted by the roar of her fans. Kelsey Mitchell, frustrated and silenced in Game 2, will look to unleash the scoring firepower Vegas thought they had contained. And Odyssey Sims, battle-tested and fearless, will keep carving paths through defenses no matter how many hands reach to stop her. Game 2 wasn't basketball at its best. It was a brawl. But the Fever survived it, and now they step back into their house. The question isn't whether Indiana can compete, it's how the Aces will handle walking into Gainbridge, where every whistle is met with a chorus of voices demanding fairness, and every Fever run threatens to become unstoppable momentum. So here's the stage. The defending champs bloodied Indiana, but they didn't break them. Now the Fever return home with their scars, their resolve, and their crowd. The Aces may have evened the series, but the balance of power is about to shift. Do you think the Fever can ride their home court energy to take control of this series? Can Lexie Hull's toughness and Kelsey Mitchell's firepower flip the narrative back against the defending champs? Or will A'ja Wilson and the Aces keep bending the game to their will? Let us know your thoughts down below. And if you're pulling for the Fever, make sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and hit that notification bell so you never miss a moment. Because if Games 1 and 2 were this wild, what's coming next in Indianapolis is going to be unforgettable.